This top 10 list contains elements that are not suitable for children under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, I do not own any of the songs in this video. All rights go to their respective copyright holders. Carpe diem, my name is Ultranatic, a lover of animation, reality shows, and music. Though as my worst of list proved, I do have my limits when it comes to those passions, the third one in particular. Bury me in Georgia. Let me rest in peace. For those who need a refresher, I gave a pretty rough beating of 2023's pop music scene in my worst of list, deeming it the worst year for pop music I had yet covered, even over 1974, which is a claim one doesn't make lightly. However, several of my peers state that last year was not actually that bad. I mean, worse than every other year in the 2020s, I suppose, but not one that was devoid of good music on whole. Does that change my opinion on 2023's popular music? Honestly, no. But it's worth at least considering if this year had any upside in that department, and like most every year, yeah, it did have quite a few. I mean, of course I liked several songs this year, and I'm going to sing their praises like I'm Celine Dion in a minute. But that's not to say I don't mean what I said before. Like, spoilers for my year-end ranking, but expect my lowest average yet amongst every year I've yet tackled. Though 2014 may usurp that too. But good I bring that up for comparison's sake, since we had several big-name stars sharing spots on each year-end list, and most of the biggest music trends those years were neither fun nor impactful. And even the songs people did latch onto weren't game changers by any means. That being said, it's not a perfect comparison, and at least for 2023, pop music itself had quite a few bright spots. Hell, except for one song, every entry on my worst of list that may have passed as honorable mentions was country, hip-hop, or a demon combo of those two genres. So at least this year's worst music was concentrated to just a few categories. And it's not like those genres didn't have their high points either, obviously. It wasn't easy, but with my expanded Billboard year-end Hot 100 Plus, as well as a few songs that made the radio year-end list, I did compile a top 10 best list that I feel pretty satisfied with. Will everyone else think the same as me on this? That remains to be seen. I'm probably gonna make a complete ass out of myself with some of these picks, but if y'all stay with me past my Waterloo breakdown for 1974, then I can only assume you'll give this video a chance too. So, let's see which songs I think are as commendable as Princess Diana, the actual person. This is a list of what I consider I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown. The top 10 best hit songs of 2023. For the shame of being young. Number 10.
Country music star Morgan Wallen, he's accused of throwing a chair off of a rooftop bar in Nashville.
Music star Morgan Wallen was arrested. He allegedly threw a chair from the roof of a bar. Arrest documents say a chair landed a few feet from police officers.
Facing an unlikely 6 years in jail, Morgan left police lockup at 3:30 a.m. after posting his $15,000 bail.
Boy, ain't this the perfect time to praise a song by this walking advertisement for AA. Yeah, you know how I said in the intro I was going to make a complete ass out of myself with these picks? Ow! The ever-loving cry! It's starting, folks. Okay, I don't actually expect that many people to be up in arms about this. I put 4 of his songs on my worst of list proper, excluding dishonorable mentions, so I think the evidence points to me not approving of his actions and judging his music independently of that. But even then, really? This was good enough for me to make the top 10 over some picks that miss this list, which you will see later and probably want to kill me for leaving off in favor of this. I don't know, but it's definitely the song I listened to the most this year. So that has to count for something, right? I thought it had to be a reckless ad to start growing all of this crap.
Somebody pour me a double shot. Been getting better by the day, but tonight I drink.
And speaking of reckless addicts, yeah, Morgan over here getting a lot of people worried. And not for something revealed for him this time, but rather revealed by himself, in fact. As this song depicts a depressed Morgan Wallen going to a bar after a breakup, trying to take any variety of addictive substances, and all while seemingly being a complete dick to his ex about it, who comes and tries to dissuade him from destroying himself.
Say I gotta get over you and get sober too. I got a lot of habits I gotta kick. Weigh out all your options and take your pick.
Now, I confess, while that is very much what the song's objective narrative is, I didn't outright see a problem with it until I watched Sean and Ethan's video, where they expressed how disgusting this song was in attitude, which they considered a hot take, but I'm not sure it is actually. I looked up reviews of this song online and found quite a few written reviews that voiced similar complaints about how manipulative Morgan was being and how he was coercing this woman to stay with him or else he'd keep doing this to himself.
You want me to stop some of that, or you want me to stop loving you? Hey, what you want me to do?
And I considered every argument I heard and read on this subject, but I just can't agree. And it's not just because this song has the best production Morgan Wallen has ever had on one, though I'd be lying if I said that didn't help quite a bit.
I can either burn the bar down, or I can take your number out my phone.
Yeah, for a guy who mixes a lot of country and trap together, about as well as Michelle Tanner mixed different snacks together.
I caught Michelle pudding surprise.
What's the surprise?
I think it's cheese.
Surprise!
Yeah, gross. But for all of that, he meshes in the pop country surprisingly well. Well, maybe not that surprising. He did gain an audience to become the biggest star of 2023 outside of just country somehow. So I think he knew which instrumentation to pair with his somewhat cartoony voice. He's going for a The Fighter by Keith and Carrie vibe here, and yeah, it's a solid freaking track. But is that enough to be worth defending Morgan Wallen as an artist, especially with lyrics like this? Well, I'll get to the lyrics, but yes, it is worth defending. Like, what everything of Morgan Wallen as a person or as an artist, in my opinion, is imperfect on both fronts. I found a video from Matt Mitchell, great comedian, funny material, check him out, where he makes a joke about Morgan Wallen that actually inspired me to stand up for the dude.
You've been having to listen to the same 4 Morgan Wallen songs. I mean, I swear to God, he's just Jason Aldean with a cold. That's all he sounds like.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't sit by after hearing that. Like, Morgan Wallen is a flawed man, but that is slander to the worst degree in my opinion. So, yes, I'm gonna go back for him for a little bit, especially on this song, which I think has been bizarrely misconstrued.
If you ain't gonna kiss me, then I'll take some whiskey, some grizzly.
Now, first we got the addictive substances, cigarettes, double shots, whiskey, grizzly, nicotine, amphetamines too, all that jazz. And even under legal limits, that's enough drugs to turn a person into a walker. He does need to be cut off. That is assuming he's being 100% serious, which, come on. He's probably as serious about this as Carrie Underwood was about wrecking her ex's car. Smoking and drinking, sure, but I don't think the dude is angel dust or anything. He's just in a sour mood and wants to alleviate his misery somehow.
I can give you up right now. Never want you back long as I'm half stoned.
But does that excuse him being a dick to his ex? Making her choose between him getting over her or him kicking his habit? No, it doesn't. I mean, it literally can't, because that's not at all what he's saying to her. The title of a song is one thing at a time. He's not telling her to choose between him quitting one or the other. He's quitting both of them regardless. It's just a question of chronology.
If you want me to quit you, want me to get you out of my heart, baby, out my mind, I'm only quitting one thing at a time.
Yes, if he were demanding that she either let him drown in bourbons or else shut up and get back together with him, that would be douchey. But I think he knows things are over between them and is coming to terms with it in his own way.
I know I got me some problems, about 1,000 memories I gotta forget, but if I'm gonna solve them, baby, I'll take all the help I can get.
He'll eventually eventually get over her, and I think once he does, he may, in fact, stop the alcohol and tobacco consumption. Keyword may, who knows, he may become Gary King from World's End. But for now, I'd rather give him the benefit of the doubt out of pure optimism.
I ain't no Superman, I'm just the way I am. If I'm gonna move on, then I need me something in my hand.
And while the ex-girlfriend's intentions are good, her wanting him to not take this so harshly, it sounds like he was doing that before she entered the bar, so him being irritated by her getting in between him and his coping mechanism, even I understand being annoyed by that, and I don't even smoke or drink. Mainly since neither of those things are particularly healthy, but once a habit is started, getting rid of it is no easy feat. And someone begging you to get over it after what I assume was a very heartbreaking separation, yeah, that's a pretty big ask. And it's not like Morgan's being impolite. If anything, he's probably being as courteous as possible given the circumstances. Visibly irritated, but not to the point of being a complete asshole. And once you peel back those layers, and this stupid freaking costume, I mean, come on, the take's not that hot. I consider this song an absolute jam.
If you want me to quit you, want me to get you.
I praise the production, I defend the lyrics, and I think Morgan's singing complements both in what has to be an intense juggle. He sounds slightly miserable, but with an expedient cadence so that he doesn't bog down the guitars and percussion.
I can either burn the bar down, or I can take your number out my phone.
Beyond just getting a bum rap, it's an insightful look into the mind of a man going through a lot, being asked even more than he can handle, but trying to not lose his composure as best as he can. Much like getting off his addiction, nothing about that can be easy. But if he can accomplish one, then I'm sure he can accomplish the other. And even if Morgan can't quit his addiction to Marlboro and Jack Daniels, then he and I are kind of in the same boat, I guess. Because I can't quit my addiction to this song.
I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown.
Number 9. Well, at least as far as Jackass takes go, I thankfully got the worst of them out of the way immediately, so it should be smooth sailing from here on out. What's the next song on this best of list? Man, on second thought, maybe I should pull these back out again. Oh, who fucking cares? I love this song from the first moment I heard it.
I'll take you dancing in a country, Levi's in them low beams.
Yeah, I'm tired of melting into a puddle of shame at my guilty pleasures. Wait, no I'm not. I don't recall ever doing that to begin with. In fact, that 2013 video that I've still got in the works, if it gave me a chance to brag about being on the That's My Kind of Night bandwagon from the instant I first heard that too, I take it, because what was so wrong with liking that song?
All them other boys wanna wind you up and take you downtown.
Yes, it's the dorkiest thing that ever happened to country, especially with it trying in vain to be cool. But I find that relatable because as if I never tried being cool growing up and completely failed at it myself. I once did a talent show dressed in a leather jacket singing Grease by Frankie Valli completely unironically, which, I mean, I was maybe 10, that was cute back then, but it's totally lame in hindsight. And that's why I enjoy stuff like Luke Bryan's Bro Country hits.
Floating down the Flint River, catch yourself a little catfish dinner.
That's a guy who tried being cool, looked like a fool, and in my opinion, that's why he rules. My god, you see how much of a cornball I still am now?
Them neon lights look good on you, so good on you.
But wait, what does that have to do with Tyler Hubbard making 21st century redneck disco with a 4-on-4 backbeat topped with a joyous melody, carefree lyrics, and an unfair country band? Direct quote from Billboard, which shows how absurd this final product became, but yeah, was this Tyler trying to be cool? Nope. A cool person wouldn't make a video where Terry Crews, of all people, has a dance battle with the guy who played Hawkeye in the musical version shown on Hawkeye's Disney Plus show. He knows how cheesy this all is and leans completely into it. Good! That's an equally correct execution for this idea.
Left, right, left, you're making me wanna sway, you're making me wanna play.
Like, Luke Bryan making one of the most unintentionally lovable things trying to be hip is something I will always have a fondness for, but there's something about knowing your avenue and not being ashamed of it that I gotta give respect for with Tyler. It's early in his solo career, and I figured 5'9", while perfectly okay, would be the sign that he'd just do more boyfriend country that we've been suffocating on for years now. But dancing in the country isn't boyfriend country, it's boy band country. Or something to that extent at least. Because the more I heard this song, the more it reminded me of a similar sounding song from the last decade. Yep, Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling. One of the silliest, least indicative songs in JT's catalog, for better or for worse. And it was another hit that had me at hello. Well, actually it had me at I got this feeling inside my bones, but I digress. It's literally branded as a kid's song, not just a theme for a kid's movie, and it is wonderful. Got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. If that was what Tyler was going for, then he understood every word of the assignment he took on. It's also by sheer happenstance that I mentioned the Keith Urban song in the last entry, as Keith Urban worked on this with Tyler too, and yeah, that makes the sense. Not just too much sense, literally all the sense. I can't even say this song grows Tyler's star power. Sorry, he doesn't really have that. But I think he's aware of that. He's not trying to be the next Morgan Wallen, he's just doing his own thing and seems completely content with that. And you know what? I think I love that. I may not be the girl Tyler's addressing in these lyrics, but I might as well be, because he spun me in some red dirt and swept me off of both feet too. Number 8. I'm gonna call in a favor for this one. And no matter how much time goes by, the party... Oh, honey, hey Ultranatic! Hey Ultroni, nice song there. Speaking of, you wanna help me with a segment for my best hits song of the 2023 video? I appreciate you asking, but I don't think pop music is my forte. It's about a song from the Barbie movie. Count me in.
Baby, you can find me under the lights, diamonds under my eyes.
OM gosh, you have no idea how much I adore this movie. Not that I'm angry or anything, but did you have to change my hat and my shirt for all of this? You're going to complain about wardrobe change when you were in a donkey tail and ears a few minutes ago? Touche. Anyway, I love this movie. Sorry to cut you off again, but we really only have time to discuss the song. Aww. Actually, that might be for the best. I do need to get back to this big event I was preparing for a few minutes ago. Let me guess, somebody's birthday? Yeah, yours. My birthday was several months ago. I'm talking about next year's birthday, dummy, which I am way behind schedule on as is, because the real Pinkie Pie would have had these things done like 13 months in advance. Man, talk about method acting. But yes, I can talk about Dance the Night for a little bit. Not like there's much to talk about, it's pretty much just reduced sugar levitating.
Lately, I've been moving close to the edge, still be looking my best.
I mean, I may not know all pop music, but I certainly know sugar. So much so that I signed up on Ultranatic hating this b****. Did you just curse? Only me and Celestia know. But yes, Levitating is the superior song without question, but I don't mind hearing a kinda toned down version of it. I'm not even sure I'd call this song toned down given how it's used in the movie after all.
I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
Yeah, they literally advertise it the same way the Cat in the Hat advertised that one Smash Mouth song in their movie. They know how pandering this is supposed to be.
Dance the night away. My heart could be burning, but you won't see it on my face.
But it's not soulless pandering. In fact, it's actually kind of clever. If Dua Lipa songs were horror movies, weird analogy opener, but I'll see where you're going with this. Then Levitate is Halloween, while Dance the Night is Scream. Not worse or anything, just hard to compare next to an outright classic like that. But it does have a sense of humor and commentary about it that does help it stand out. Huh, I guess that analogy works.
When my heart breaks, when my world shakes.
And it's not just a subtle bit of comicality they bring in, it is the production too. Which, as much as this sounds like Levitating, they do not have the same credited producers. Dance the Night has the talents of Andrew White and Mark Ronson, I've mentioned them before, as well as the Picard brothers, and at a cursory glance, that is an all-star team of beatmakers at Dua Lipa's fingertips right there.
This broken silence by thunder crashing in the dark.
I mean, I got worried when I looked at their production history and found a Chris Brown feature as one of their earliest contributions to pop music. But even then, by Breezy standards, it's a roughly C+ song, and that's when they work with Brown's usual producers too. And along with collaborating with Mark Ronson and several other pop sensations, their other contribution to the Barbie soundtrack reportedly was this.
I'm just kidding, anywhere else I'd be 10.
So, yeah, major kudos right there.
Watch me dance, dance the night away.
I mean, what isn't there to like about this? We got talented people who made Chris Brown almost listenable, erudite inspiration behind the song in one of the most relevant films of the decade, and Dua Lipa being the best centerpiece to bring all of this to our screens and speakers. What more can I say except happy 21st birthday, Ultranatic. Thanks, Ultroni. Although, again, kinda early on that one. I'm also kinda late, I'm not 21. I wasn't talking about your physical age. Mental? Spiritual. Yeah, I'll take it.
I could dance, I could dance, I could dance, dance the night. I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown.
Number 7. Well, that was fun. Though yeah, me putting Dance the Night on my best of list has to be my third strike for early basic taste in pop music for this year. It'd probably help if I had at least one song on this list that made me look a little bit presentable as a music critic, but what are the odds of that happening, Olivia?
Hey.
Yeah, the thumbnail gave this one away. I mean, I like Vampire too, but between that and this, what did you think was making it on this list?
Fuck it, it's fine.
Yes, I know that he's my ex, but can't two people reconnect? I only see him as a friend.
Yep, we're once again blessed with the talents of Dan Nigro and Olivia Rodrigo, taking the 90s pop punk scene and using it to kick ass on the charts.
Haven't heard from you in a couple of months, but I'm out right now and I'm all bugged up. And you're calling my phone, you're all alone, and I'm sensing some undertone.
And yeah, me making my top 10 list just one video was meant to make things shorter. Not sure it's succeeding, but this one I can keep short because everything awesome about this song is so surface level that you'd need topside sight minus the bending to not be able to enjoy it. Though if this kind of music existed in Avatar's universe, I am pretty sure that Toph would be completely into it.
I know we're done, I know we're through, but God, when I look at you,
My brain goes, oh.
Olivia trying to justify a regrettable hookup where she's lying to herself about her intentions and seem less pathetic is actually more in keeping with my taste for this list, since I've been justifying the least cool songs possible, but unlike all of those songs, this one has history behind how you can take it seriously. And maybe history on how not to, since I saw a comparison on this song in a review that gave me pause for thought. Lindsay Zolas, reporter for the New York Times, actually said this song gave her flashbacks to Tony Basil's Mickey.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, what a pity you don't understand. You take me by the heart when you take me by the hand.
I pull up to your place on the second floor and you're standing smiling at the door. And I'm sure I've seen much hotter men, but I really can't remember when.
Can two people reconnect? I only see him as a friend. Biggest lie I ever said.
Okay, now I hear it. Geez, that song is way more influential than I ever would have expected from that particular one-hit wonder.
Yes, I know that he's my ex. Can't
I mean, while I do like at least 6 songs from this year more than this one, if I had to pick the song on this list with the best individual moments in it, this wins easy. The aggressive guitar playing where it sounds like the wielder is getting out whatever anger they have pent up inside. The stop on the word stop thing, which I know everyone noticed. The clattering every time Olivia says she can't hear her thoughts. For all the criticisms, more like objective statements, that Olivia's work sounds like a teenager wrote it, yes, and that's a good thing. I defend Gwen's actions in the Gwunkin storyline of Total Drama World Tour because what she did was stupid and selfish, but not only does she know it, the show knows it too. And it's compelling and cathartic to see our own teenage f***ers be mirrored to show that, yes, we've matured from that, but it's also a reminder that this can happen to anyone. And rather than let it weigh you down, air it out. Put a fist in the air and proclaim that your mistakes are your mistakes and you can feel however you want about them. That is a way more empowering mentality than is likely realized, and coming from Olivia's best song, I can't commend it more for that. I can't hear my thoughts either, Olivia, because your 5-star song has been stuck in my head for months now, and I'm just giving it permanent residence. It lives there officially. Number 6. Not too long ago, I released a video of every correct prediction made by Todd in the Shadows. And on a personal level, I'm extremely proud of how that compilation came out. It of course had one major prediction that everyone knew was making the video, but there is one wrong prediction slightly related to it.
The role you made me play of the fool.
She didn't decide to turn evil. She's not changing her image. Her image got changed for her. She blundered into it. This isn't an anti-hero transformation.
Not yet, Todd. Not just yet.
I have this thing where I get older, but just never wiser.
I was going to make this a tie between all of Taylor's 2023 hits, but I didn't love either version of Karma, and I always kind of leaned towards this song more than any of the others anyway. And for those screaming, wait, you love this more than Cruel Summer? A little. And I do mean just a little, because Cruel Summer got a well-deserved resurgence this past year. Like, between these songs, I think Cruel Summer is another case of higher highs and then lower lows, while Antihero is more consistently excellent all throughout. And maybe that's more what I like from Taylor. Even her worst songs aren't that bad. I'll stomach Bad Blood, for instance. It's songs like Me and You Need to Calm Down I take issue with, since those songs are all over the place. Not that Cruel Summer is too, but between that and Antihero, I think the latter gets its story and tone a bit better.
All of the people I've ghosted stand there in the room.
I appreciate the whirlwind of emotions we get from Cruel Summer, but God, do I love a self-reflective epiphany of how much of a social screw-up Taylor is.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
It's like a beautiful ending to her career arc, which is clearly not ending anytime soon, but we can at least call it the end of a chapter. Or maybe of a book in her saga, like Helen Percy Jackson at the end of The Titan's Curse. Spoilers for those only following a Disney Plus show. Nico is revealed to be a son of Hades and could be the subject of the Big Three prophecy. And just like Hades, Taylor is someone who, in many ways, has been unfairly portrayed as an irredeemable villain. Which, yeah, most of y'all know the world is not that spy versus spy levels of black and white. Taylor is way more complicated than that.
I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror.
But I've suspected she never really considered herself being the problem, so maybe she'd need to learn this lesson for herself. And once she did, it was legit kind of magical. You called? Not that kind of magical. No. I mean lyrically magical.
Did you hear my covert narcissism, like disguise as altruism?
Like, there's been some debate about Taylor's worst and best lyrics in media, and the fact that most of her best lyrics have come from her most recent album shows her progression progression as an artist. We all know she's had this potential very much tapped all along. This is just it being in complete overdrive, like the Human Torch going supernova. We always knew they could, it was whether they should that was in question. To that I say, they shouldn't. Because that's literal fire, whereas Taylor scribed out page after page of written fire. I have no idea how I'm able to do that.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. I'm the problem.
I'm not sure it even makes sense to dissect the composition, though it is appropriately bombastic. Kind of reminds me of Be Kind by Halsey and Marshmello. Because this is purely meant to be a museum tour into Taylor Swift's gorgeous mental landscape of metaphors and anecdotes that paint her as some sort of Knives Out character that you just want to learn more about, even if you're only getting a glimpse of them.
I have this dream, my daughter-in-law kills me for the money.
Maybe I came to that comparison because of the final verse and all, which heck can happen in that movie. But where could this song go wrong including that in there? It's Taylor being Taylor, Jack Antonoff bringing his S game, and sheet music that dances through my mind like Mozart's dances through Salieri's. Whether narcissism or altruism, I will gladly hear anything from Taylor if she stays on this trend of songwriting godhood, which is pretty likely.
Rooting for the anti-hero.
Number 5. Okay, most of the hot takes I've given in this video have been in this video, but there's one I want to share with all of you that came from social media that I got blindsided by as far as people telling me how wrong I was about it. And yeah, upon digging further into it, holy crap did I misjudge this certified classic.
Sleazing and teasing, I'm sitting on him. All of my diamonds are dripping on him.
I mean, I was writing how much I liked it, cause yeah, this is clearly one of the best songs of the decade thus far, but I was wrong in how reductive my stance on Ray was as an artist, saying she was another Dua Lipa mixed with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which was obviously meant as a compliment, like who wouldn't want that in their lives? But I saw more than one tweet be aghast at what I said, and when I actually listened to her album, My 21st Century Blues, whew, did I underestimate how unique and interesting she truly was.
Try to understand just what you know. You see my black mascara.
Like, I'm not sure I call Dua Lipa disposable by any means in terms of personality, but she's definitely more disposable than Ray at least. Like in Levitating, if you swap Dua Lipa out for, say, Ariana Grande, wouldn't that just instantly give a song a stronger identity? I'm not saying it'd be better or worse, just that it'd have more of a face to it, all due respect to Dua Lipa. She's consistent, but she's not much of a risk taker nowadays. And yeah, I know I said I prefer consistency in my last century, but even on her worst albums, Taylor's got way more charisma than Dua Lipa has ever had. Man, then you've got Ray, who's just f***ing got it.
A little context if you care to listen. I find myself in a shit position.
Dua Lipa's a completely professional singer, and that's great, don't get me wrong, but maybe I just like my pop stars like I like my paintings. You sometimes get these gorgeous photorealistic visions, but then at other times you'll get your Picassos and Van Goghs, which are much sloppier, but damn, it makes them feel more idiosyncratic and worth appreciating.
Just a heartbroken bitch, high heels, 6 inch in the back of the nightclub, sipping champagne.
I'm not saying Ray's unprofessional, but she's not afraid to be a little unhinged in this song. Like, as if I've never heard a song about a woman using drinks in a club to escape the pain of a nasty breakup. How it's practically one thing at a time all over again, except with much less fuzziness and sympathizing with the protagonist, as well as an almost film noir-esque backdrop to it. That is goddamn genius, whereas this been our whole lives.
I don't wanna feel, I don't wanna feel how I did last night.
Okay, that question's been answered in Sean and Ethan's Spring 2023 ranking, but that just makes her more badass in my opinion. Being held back by her label until she finally broke free and dropped her debut album, which led with Hard Out Here, encapsulating her whole story straight out the gate.
On my way, figured a way out. My pen is a gun, I'm finna spray now.
Then waiting another single before releasing this juggernaut, and it's still making the top 40. That's giving me thrift shop flashbacks, although I'm guessing Ray had more struggles to deal with than Benjamin Haggerty did, but still, an independent smash like this, which gave the listeners a full understanding on who this woman was and hopefully what to expect from her in the future, that is something I should have noticed the first time around, and I'm usually pretty late on these things, but hey, better that than never.
Remember nothing, so there's nothing to regret. Other than this 4/4 kick drum pounding in my head.
I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown.
Number 4. Well, I went from 3 laughingstock entries on this list to 3 probable agreeable entries on this list. Now I'm gonna give y'all something kind of in the middle. Not embarrassing, but not particularly beloved either, at least not from any videos that I saw, making it, in my opinion, the most underrated song of this entire past year, and I was always going to love it. Yeah, Memory Lane. A song you may remember, and if I had to guess, y'all likely thought, I guess that sounds nice, I wouldn't just change the station if it came on, but better than Olivia, Taylor, and Ray? Are you absolutely sure? For personal preferences, yes. I'm sure.
If I could buy a house on memory lane.
I've come to discover that I'm a hopelessly romantic sap who adores having my heart taken on a journey through the cosmos with fits of nostalgia-based reminiscing laced in, so this song's placement on this list was its own to lose, not gain. It was kinda guaranteed from the get-go.
Thinking about those sunsets that bled into jean jacket nights, those tangled up mornings.
Yeah, hearing the one-man band make a sweeping song about finding a symbolic place to settle down with the rest so after so many fond memories together is just my me. I know people say that certain things they love are their everything, but if y'all know me, y'all know my everything is, kind of a hodgepodge of so many other passions that it'd be a disservice to my sense of identity to categorize songs in this subgenre as my everything. But they're 100 gazillion% cater for my taste, so yeah, they're my me. And it's made even better by the tragic element that this love story doesn't really have the happy ending like you'd think it would by its sound.
On memory lane, I wouldn't have to wonder if you miss me the same.
Yeah, he and his girlfriend split up, and yet he's still singing this song as if they were still together. Like, he's not over her, but not spitefully, more just in denial, at least subconsciously.
Loving you as usual, telling you you're beautiful. Oh, I'd be happily delusional.
In fact, more than any country song, you know what hit song this really reminds me of?
Now I've got to fool myself. I'll get over you. I know I will.
Yep, King of Wishful Thinking by Go West. That one delightfully upbeat pop song from 1990 about a guy trying to convince himself that he's past his newly ended relationship so much that even the audience might believe he's still got a chance.
And I'll tell myself I'm over you, 'cause I'm the king of wishful thinking.
Although if you use your noggin for even a second, it's pretty clear the book is closed on this story, so I wouldn't get too caught up in that. But they make it so fun, energetic, and catchy that people get caught up in it anyways. And Old Dominion does the exact same thing with Memory Lane.
Those tangled up mornings lost in paradise.
You hear how this song ebbs and flows all throughout the runtime, giving you the experience of a whirlwind love story, despite this being the aftermath of one? That's what I'm looking for. Production that complements the sentiment the artist wants to deliver.
Yeah, I might as well live there, baby.
Those memories were so good that they want to live in that time period forever, but they can't, and yet they're still kind of okay with that.
Your head on my shoulder, we never let go, and we never be over
Jesus Christ, is that potent. This is one of those songs that I genuinely think I could listen to on repeat for infinity and somehow never get tired of it. I'm probably wrong about that, but it just feels true in the moment, you know? A song so beautiful and extraordinary that I could picture myself having it in my life forever. Just like Old Dominion did with their SO. It didn't happen for them, but a guy can dream, can he?
I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown.
Number 3. Country Tie Time, everybody! Yeah, never heard that one before. We already got one of those in my worst of list, sure, but I bet most of y'all know they're practically ingrained in my best of list too. Couple singular entries, of course, but there's always at least one pair / grouping of other country songs that seem to stick together like glue for me that I can't separate from the others. Except there is a big distinction between this country tie and the one in my worst of list. Well, aside from that, those songs were all indisputably hits, like made the year-end Hot 100 and everything. These two didn't. Like, didn't even come close, but by the bent rules I apply for this list, they kinda sorta count anyway, so with the exception of Memory Lane, let me give y'all my picks for the two most underappreciated country songs of this past year, if we're talking chart performance at least.
But I'll tell you what he didn't do. Treat me right, put me first, be a man of his word, stay home 'cause he wanted to.
And
You should have slammed the door, changed the lock, and said adios.
yeah, so let me set the scene for how these two made the list. Carly Pearce's What He Didn't Do did crack the top 40, but only for a single week. And even then it was a steep climb to that spot, and it kind of faded off the charts after a bit once that happened. It still performed better than Thomas Rhett's Angels, which didn't crack the top half at all on Billboard, but was a decent enough radio hit to make the radio year-end list. Also, it did hit #1 on country radio too. Take that, Jason Aldean's That's What Tequila Does. Not sure why I'm dwelling on that useless piece of nothing. I'd so much rather talk about these two damn gorgeous country songs with like actual emotion and heart and even good examples to set for the listener as far as advice on relationships go.
I'm already halfway over him and I taking time to turn around.
Well, ladies first. Carly Pearce's What He Didn't Do is a song so good that I'm not even the only person to mention it in their best of list despite its low performance. Shout out to Outside Lane. But I did mention I'd include the top 120 biggest songs of this year, excluding repeats and Christmas songs, in this ranking, and this song narrowly squeezed into those margins. So that gives me the perfect excuse to praise the maturity and female empowerment on display in this track.
I'ma take the high road even though we both know I could run him out of this town.
I'm sure many of y'all already know the premise to this song. Carly's just dumped a guy who didn't meet her standards as a partner, but unlike most other female country songs in the matter, which show incredible vengeance over this guy's misdeeds, this is just about making peace with herself. Cause she's not defined by her former attachment to this guy, and I'll bet despite that, she's being bombarded by questions about what went down, likely for the sake of gossip, but she's not here for that.
Mama always said if you can't say something nice, then don't say anything at all.
Especially since the implication is that she left him not for being a bad boyfriend, but for not being a good one. Well, there's a big difference, people. Here, let me lay this all out for you. In the TDI reboot, I guess spoilers for those just catching it in America. No, screw it. Y'all know what's gone down already. I'm not giving away anything. Chase and Emma have one of the rockiest relationships of all time in this show, which is saying a lot. And Emma rightfully wants nothing to do with the oblivious and abusive, even if unintentionally, Chase. Until she starts warming up to him again over complete misjudgments in character, and even gets back together with him by the end of the season. Only to leave him again at the beginning of season 2. Thank God. Now, I bring all this up because y'all might wonder, for a guy who cut the brakes on her car and literally all this other crap I don't have time to type out, why did she get back together with this menace on women at all? Well, not that I agree, but Carly's song does give me clarity on the subject here.
Devil's in the details. I won't tell the hell that he put me through. All I know is in the end it wasn't what he did. No, it was what he didn't do.
It is not my place to speculate a real woman's motivations for staying in a horrible relationship, but I suppose for some, if there's a few little things their partner can do for them in spite of all the bad, they'll accept them for their, flaws. But that's where Carly's song is so effective. She separated from this guy not for whether he did anything terrible, but purely for the lack of good or even commonly decent things he could have done for their relationship. It's not a matter of why she left, but why she didn't stay.
Treat me right, put me first, be a man of his word, stay home 'cause he wanted to.
And that's a good message, asking for your partner to be dependable, faithful, and all-around caring and loving. If that sounds too hard for you, face the facts, you wouldn't be worth Carly's time either. And where does Thomas Rhett come into play on all of this? Well, imagine the same premise but from the opposite perspective and with a completely different outcome.
I don't live my life every day like you prayed that I would.
Same equally flawed boyfriend, except the woman stayed with him despite his shortcomings. Sound horrible by comparison? Actually, Tommy makes it work tremendously well in my opinion.
I'm a mess of a man with lessons to learn. You're the last thing on earth I deserve.
I mean, that is what the song's about, kinda don't need to repeat that. But the way Thomas turns it around is by showing his absolute gratitude for his girlfriend's forgiveness, and with such a damn adoring compliment to go along with it, that he made it the title of the song.
Don't know why you were patient and wasted good saving on me. Angels don't always have wings.
I'd say that is such an obvious ploy to win the woman back over, except it's not a ploy because she didn't leave him, she stuck with him. I'm guessing because Thomas isn't the worst guy, just screws up now and then. Which, hey, that happens. As long as he shows an attempt or at least desire to improve, kinda like Lee Bryson Hard to Love, I can see his SO excusing that. Especially when he knows there could have been reason to end it for good, but she stayed with him anyway.
For too long I didn't know what I had, but dang, these days I do.
That is some true love there from both parties. If Thomas didn't love her too, he wouldn't put in the effort at all. But you know he cares and wants to be better. That's the stepping stone we all want in the end. And both non-hits are not only beautifully written, but beautifully constructed.
Always fight for my love, hold on tight like it's something that he can't stand to lose.
I mean, it's typical soft guitar picking and light percussion, nothing remarkable there. But while I love the grander statements like Memory Lane or even Springsteen, country music is often most poignant when it's subtle and reflective. Like a personal story being shared so you can feel the intimacy of a moment.
Don't know why you were patient, wasted good saving on me.
These two songs do have their high points to capture the thesis of the lyrics, but they only go as big as they need to and then stop. They understand their limits and stick to them, just like Carly Pearce would have wanted and Thomas Rhett is actively working towards. If anyone wonders why I truly love country music in spite of crap like this, it's for special little songs like these beautiful gems.
All I know is in the end it wasn't what he did, no, it was what he didn't do.
Don't always have wings. I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown.
Number 2. So I revisited my best of 2022 video and noticed a clip from it that put a pleasantly surprised smile on my face. Zach Bryan may not know where he's supposed to go, but I do. Back on the charts ASAP. I have no idea how I'm pulling off these oracular feats in my videos, but I'm not looking at gift horse in the mouth on this one. Take it away, Zach.
Rod girl and whiskey's gonna ease my mind.
And
Give me my dog's bed.
their country tie. Look, picking which Zach Bryan song is better is like picking which animated sequel is better between Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and Across the Spider-Verse.
The sand from your hair is blowing in my eye. Blame it on the beach, grown men don't cry.
Okay, if we're talking hits, I Remember Everything needs far less of an explanation than Dawn's does as to how it qualified. But again, top 100 plus, and it did make it on those grounds.
I'm scared love's just another drug I have grown a victim to.
But as for reason why they made this best of list, I think it's pretty evident why I gush over either of these. Let me gush over them anyways, redundancies be damned. Starting with the #1 country song that people aren't sickened by on principle, I Remember Everything.
A cold shoulder, a closing time. You begging me to stay till the sun rose.
So, you know how much I love Somebody That I Used to Know by Goche and Kimbra? Duh, since damn near everyone does. Well, that's one of the few songs you could play on those Just Sing You Lose challenges that I genuinely fall victim to. It is that much embedded in my DNA.
Strange words come on out of a grown man's mouth when his mind's broke.
And you can include this one on that list too, as it never fails to get me to start singing along as well. And if you look at any live performance of this song, that is clearly not just a me thing. Like, concerts are definitely a sing-along event, depending on the performer, but I've literally gone to see Maroon 5 in concert before they became unquestionable crap, in my opinion. And from where I was, people were jamming more than singing, so there will definitely be some artists whose energies won't resonate with a stadium of people. And I'm amazed, though not the least bit disappointed, that Zach is an artist that does resonate with a major crowd. Like, seeing people sing along at a Taylor Swift concert, no matter the song, that makes sense. There's a greater swell to her music, a more fast-paced tempo usually. I Remember Everything goes the same pace as your average tractor. It should bring everything to a halt, and yet it's really calm and soothing, like a musical version of Goose Fraba from Anger Management. And it probably helps that the subject matter is basically the bitter version of Memory Lane.
You only smile like that when you're drinking. I wish I didn't, but I do remember every moment on the nights with you.
Again, crazy how I love songs revolving around memories of supposed love being distorted by reality. When I called myself a hopeless romantic earlier, should less emphasis have gone on the word romantic than hopeless?
No, you'll never be the man that you always swore.
Oh, and also like Somebody That I Used to Know, this song has a featuring credit from an ultra-talented female vocalist, Casey Musgraves, who did have more fame than Kimbra at least, but a #1 hit from a female country artist for the first time since the 1980s? No, Taylor doesn't count. That's legitimately wonderful, especially for someone whose voice radiates a sweet spring breeze of melodies and moving set of lyrics that complement Zach's.
I wish I didn't, but I do remember every moment on the nights with you.
Kimbra was cutting Gautier down a peg. Casey here is saying, yeah, you were kinda not worth the trouble, but we had some good times. And gosh darn it, that makes me cry. Dawn's, however, does not make me cry. I'm not entirely sure what it does, but by God does it do it good.
When the season's gone, 'cause I've wasted all my dawns on you.
Like, where to even begin? This song starts out sounding almost improvised, close to tuneless even, only for it to slowly gain a foothold in the structure, and then suddenly, Zach is like Spider-Man finally getting a handle on his sticking hands. God, that sounds wrong. The point is he now has a direction in this song which fits the lyrical setup of regretting his time with his SO over things he could have prioritized more, like his mother who'd since departed from this world to the next. There's a reason why I say Carpe Diem at the beginning of my videos, because I hope that y'all as an audience and myself as a creator cherish every day of our lives and the people within them while we still have them.
I'll be halfway to my best friend's home.
Oh, and another intersection between these songs is not just the same lead artist, but each having a featured female artist who deserves so much more recognition, and he's basically giving them the spotlight they've earned. I mean, I think I would like seeing that from solo tracks of theirs, but A, baby steps, I get that, and B, Beyonce. The progress is being made, and hopefully it stays on that course. But yeah, Maggie Rogers, an earnest singer-songwriter who'd only had moderate success with songs like Alaska and Light On, which y'all should pause my video for and listen to like yesterday because they're also 5 out of 5 songs.
Keep preaching, and I'll keep coming back.
She's her own flavor of versatile and easy to connect with, taking fame in stride, determining her own path, all that jazz that I also love.
Life is as fleeting as the passing dog.
Playing the role of Zach's ex here, this has more in common with the biggest hit of 2012 than I Remember Everything does. Cause I think that this position is supposed to be taking Zach's side until you hear Maggie sing about how she wasn't cut out for this for completely understandable reasons.
I believe in something bigger than both of us.
It doesn't make Zach look worse or anything, but it does add dimension to their dynamic. And in a year where the general vibe could be summed up with this,
Fuck you, and fuck me, and fuck everybody. That is fucking bullshit.
a song this nuanced was greatly appreciated. And Zach gave us 2 of them. Maybe we're more spoiled than I gave us credit for earlier.
A cold shoulder, closing time. You were begging me to stay till the sun rose.
Why have I been in a sour mood for this year when cornerstones like this still have the capability of being made? Zach could very well be another super consistently S-tier artist for us at this point, and I don't yet know how much appreciation has been given to that. In fact, I almost feel bad putting these two only at number 2, but that's more a testament of the top song's strengths than any weaknesses either of these songs could have. They're profound, they're conflicting, they're refined, they're professional, they're as precious as a passing dawn, and I do expect to remember everything about them, always.
Labrador hanging out the passenger door. Oh, what do I do?
And before we get to the number 1 spot on this list, let's look over a few very honorable mentions. You know, it's nice seeing Shakira continue to get hits after almost a decade off the Billboard Hot 100, no matter the language in question. TQG was pretty good too, by the way. I almost included this on my Todd Correct predictions video since after Todd put Break My Soul on his best of 2022 list, he mentioned something about whether she'd make any further hits after this. We just accept them even if they were table scraps, and I figured this would count, except this one had been charting for a bit before that, so foregone conclusion. Still an absolute bop though. Great year for the Beautiful Liar duo, wasn't it? I'm pretty argument prone IRL. Yeah, imagine that. But if Sis is saying this to disarm me, I could be convinced to permanently seal my mouth shut rather than fight with her. She is literally siren levels of persuasive to me. Me too, Luke Combs. You may not outdo the original, but I'm happy your version of this song exists. Do y'all remember after Taylor Swift released Reputation that the next couple singles were to an extent more toned down, as well as more broadly appealing, like to wash off a sting of that album until she became a big star again? Well, after one right now and the happier song from last year, is Posty doing the same thing now?
Only a fortnight.
And it's up on a Friday night, babe, sliding over my way. Deep in every weekend, if you couldn't tell, they said teamwork makes a dream.
Just ask him because he's rebounding pretty handsomely right now. Also, Chemical's awesome, no notes.
I knew right then I'd never get hit again when you said to me,
wait in the truck.
Yeah, I've definitely come around on Blown Away. That's why I like this one a lot. I'm opposed to murder, I hope that goes without saying, but there are famous stories about parents killing the abusers of their own children, and whatever my thoughts on murder are, those struck me more as symbols of love for their kid than pure hatred for who they killed, though feel free to disagree.
I don't know if he's an angel, 'cause angels don't do what he did.
And yeah, this isn't a parent, it's some dude doing this for a woman he literally just met, but I think that makes it easier to digest. I doubt this specific scenario would ever actually happen. If I'm wrong, please cite the source below, but I still love the scale and motivation behind this song.
I give a second chance to Cupid. No need to make it show my stupid.
An easy pick for my excellent tier. Let's ignore how nice it sounds and more what it sounds like, cause I've heard this melody before.
마음속에 매일 밤 someone who will share this feeling. Maybe I'll find myself sitting on that distant shore. Maybe I'm not alone.
Do I care that's plagiarism? Honestly, I chalk it up more coincidence, but even if it weren't, I'm just happy that anything that sounds like a Steven Universe song becoming a hit. Speaking of plagiarism, how can I justify this not making the list when I put Deja Vu on my best of 2021 list despite the obvious peaking involved here? Well, it all goes back to consistency. Olivia's song is just a steady stream of top marks, whereas I think I still haven't warmed up to Taylor yelping during some of her verses.
Always waiting for you to be waiting below. Devils roll the dice, angels roll their eyes. What doesn't kill me makes me want you more.
But that's a nitpick. I think I can safely call this my unofficial number 12. My unofficial number 11, on the other hand.
I might do minus, not the best idea.
Yeah, loving one Righteous Murder ballad and hating the other on this list doesn't seem to make sense to me. The weird thing is, SZA strikes me as someone who's a really kind person IRL, and someone who wouldn't even hurt a fly, and yet I somehow think if she really wanted to, she could obliterate anyone just with a single note exiting her lips. The fact she doesn't is something we should all be thankful for, like the airbenders being pacifists in Avatar, cause if they wanted to, they could kill you gruesomely too. Thankfully, SZA's above that, and I'm sad that this amazing song by her got beat out by 10 other songs, including my number 1 spot. And which song made my number 1 spot? Let's find out.
Ring, ring, even the cops thought you were on.
And the number 1 best hit song of 2023 is... Right on cue, Ultroni. Happy to help, Ultra. Now go to the obvious number 1 for this list. Will do, as if it were going to be something else.
I used to float, now I just fall down.
Is this just going to be my inevitable pattern? Any best of list I make that isn't topped by a country song is going to be topped by Billie Eilish instead? Because this is the 3rd time for her that one of her tunes has been my number 1 best song of the year, and I suspect not the last, because Billie is just one of those artists who everyone seems to agree is unconditionally great.
Taking a drive, hours and ideal.
Her soft, delicate, and yet oh so passionate vocals, her subtle and straight to the point production, and her poetic and wise beyond her years lyrics, I think even a Paula by Robin Thicke level flop couldn't destroy the legacy of Billie and Phineas. And given their most recent album,
Baby, I'll love you till the day that I die.
yeah, they ain't anywhere close to that right now.
So being human's not something I need to ask for or even want?
Obviously, the context of the Barbie movie has to be addressed too, as hearing Billie say these lyrics were purely inspired by the character in the movie, if that were 100% true, would kinda sorta weaken the song's impact. Because it's basically just telling us exactly the journey Barbie went through and everything she learned, as if the movie didn't already go over that.
I'm sad again.
It's still beautiful to listen to, don't get me wrong, but what would be the merit in just hearing a repeat of the film's themes already given to us? But as even Billy figured out, this song isn't just about Barbie after all, is it?
Turns out I'm not real, just something you paid for.
Yep, it's another trek into Billy's multicolored, complex psyche, and how she feels as a big-name artist being kinda sorta a commodity to the listening public, trying to grapple with that reality and where she feels the least bit satisfied with it.
I don't know how to feel, but I wanna try.
Which, given the story of everything I wanted, I completely understand if the answer were no, to the point of her wanting to take a step back from entertainment for a while. Plus, she did say she didn't even realize that was what she was writing about in the beginning, so this was more her subconscious talking.
When did it end? All the enjoyment.
But I feel that's where it's most honest. So overwhelmed by show business and having her biggest passion be just another product that's sucking the emotion out of it. Well, trying and failing, I should say, as Billy So is laid out for all to see, but the tragedy is still there. Even the resolution at the end sounds pretty bittersweet to me.
Something I'm not, but something I can be.
I think it's supposed to sound like, yes, happiness is something I deserve and it'll come eventually, but it's that very last something I'm made for that alters the meaning for me.
Something I'm made for.
Because maybe that's what the higher-ups want from her too. Someone to look content with her position, which, to be fair, most people would jump off a cliff for, even if it's not the end of the rainbow she was hoping for. Kinda like Barbie when you think about it. Yes, just smile and wave. It'll make the kids happy, that's all we need you to do, and nothing more.
Don't know how to feel.
Except, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this song is so good that it makes me want Billy to stop making music for a while. Now what sense does that make? She's an amazing artist, a wonderful person, an incredible symbol and icon. Why would I want less of her in my life? But this isn't about what's best for me, but rather what's best for her. I'm not saying she's depressed or detached. I don't actually know what goes on in her personal life, and it's none of my business anyways. But maybe there's a little voice inside her trying to get through, telling her to give her some me time. What harm has that ever done? If it makes a positive change in her life, then that's excellent. I'm happy she got that no matter the circumstances. Or maybe I'm totally wrong about all this and she's doing totally fine for herself.
I could eat that girl for lunch as she dances on my tongue.
That new album does seem to have her in a stronger, more confident light, but regardless, I hope she is doing well because god damn do I want her well-being to be her primary focus.
I don't know how to feel.
I can't remember if I made this comparison or not before, but it's kind of like Santa Claus being given the year off in that one Rankin Bass special as a gift for all he's done for the world. I want to express that same gratitude to Billy and Phineas, two of the most incredible people and more astonishing artists to ever bring us the poesy they put to paper. And that is why I call What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish to be the #1 best hit song of 2023.
Something I'm made for.
And that was my top 10 best hit songs of 2023. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. Which begs the question, was this year really that bad if I had that much acclaim to give to it in the first place? Well, only one way to find out, and you know what that means for my next video.
So I'm dancing with my eyes closed.
Yeah, after this ranking 2023, so help me God, I will finally get a handle on you.
Can I get a kiss? And can you make it last forever? I said I'm about